Welcome to Seas of Change's next episode of Ocean Views. We are so excited to welcome our guest, Nicola, here. Nicola, could you please introduce yourself and just tell us a little about what you do?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on this episode. I'm so excited. I'm Nicola Tsiolis. I'm 19 from Victoria, Australia, and I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Marine Science at Deakin University. I guess I revolve my life around my ambitions for the ocean, and I'm just super passionate about this incredible place that we have and the people that surround it. And I love learning and growing and being a part of different organizations. And it's amazing.
Yeah, so it sounds like you do like a broad range of things, and it's how do you balance being in uni and doing your conservation work?
So I guess because they're so entwined together, seeing as I do marine science, I'm studying the science behind all these things and understanding the processes, and it's amazing as it is as science, but also being on the conservation end, you actually have the ability to actually do something about all these things that you're learning about. So for me, I think being that they're so intertwined together, it really doesn't feel like work and study. It just feels like one whole project that I'm a part of. And it is difficult though, because there's a lot of things going on, and I'm sure anyone in this industry or studying or in school understands just how busy you can get. But I guess it's just I find I'm really privileged with my education, and I get so many different opportunities to get involved with things, and it is really intense, but it's so important to be grateful about what you're doing. And
I 100% agree, and I love that you're able to combine studying and also environmental activism. And I love that you acknowledge that it's just like a big project, and I love that as well. I agree, it's definitely just like one intertwined thing. How did you first get started in environmental activism?
I guess I've always really been passionate about nature, and I love I love the earth and I love the ocean, and so that love was always there. So I didn't really need to develop any of that, because it was also just ingrained in me in a young age, I guess. But during high school, I remember it was like my younger years of high school, I had to write a persuasive speech. And I wrote about the Adani Carmichael coal mine, which is a coal mine that has been proposed in northern Queensland for so long. And doing all the research and learning about the impacts of that and watching videos and all of that sort of thing, and just thinking about how destructive this coal mine is going to be, not only for the Great Barrier Reef, which is right on its doorstep, but for everybody around the world, because this coal mine was going to release or be, it was going to function for over 60 years. And we need to be phasing out fossil fuels, not producing thousands and thousands of tons of more. So it was just so confusing to me as to why this project was going on. And I became really angry and frustrated, and I guess overwhelmed about all the other monstrosities that were going on around the world. And I just felt I couldn't shy away from that, and I had to do something. I didn't know what to do, but I knew that need to do something is what I had to try and figure out. So
I think it's so amazing that like through educating yourself you're able to find your passion, grow that, because I think that's really important for anyone who wants to be become involved. Is the first step is to just educate yourself, and you'll realize what an impact is being made. So that was one inspiration. Is there anything else or anyone in specific that inspires you to be involved?
There's lots of things that inspire me to down this path, and in other parts of my life as well. But I guess for me, the ocean itself is my biggest inspiration. I'm obsessed with the ocean, so I cannot say it's not. And nature and this earth, it's just so beautiful, incredible, and being able to go for walks outside is just like huge creative inspiration there. But there are lots of incredible people in this field of marine science and conservation and overall just water people that inspire me as well. And I guess the most inspirational people, it's people like you guys. It's youth around the world. It's the fact that the passion youth have for wanting to do the best they can towards an overall global movement, because that's what it is. We're all like working like little minions to do our best that we possibly can for a bigger overall goal, and that's what inspires me the most. Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, I appreciate like you as well, but being able to not directly work with everyone and all the youth around the world, but like it's the stuff that we do that adds up together that makes change. And I agree that it's so important. Do you
Yeah.
have any current or upcoming projects that you'd like to share with us?
I have a podcast called the Green Style Podcast that I would love for whoever can tune in to that. It's about I guess it's a podcast that I've created with one other friend who is in New Zealand, who I met through World Oceans Day Youth Advisory Council, and now we've just recruited we've recruited one of my best friends who's super interested in fashion and this whole movement, and it's a really amazing conversation to a lot of incredible people doing their part in the fashion world and discussing and shaping the fashion industry into a more sustainable and ethical and responsible way. And we talk about consumption in general, and if you wanted to get involved with that would be amazing, and tune in.
Definitely, that sounds so cool. I'll definitely take a listen. That sounds really interesting. And it's really amazing that through like a podcast you can reach so many people. So it's definitely an amazing project. With COVID forcing us all to change our approach, has this affected your work in any way? And like, how have you overcome like these challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this has definitely changed things up for a lot of people. But for me personally, I mean, I'm in the most basic sense, I'm a very visual learner. So sitting hours and hours on the computer is, it's hard to learn. But and practicals in terms of my degree is a huge component of what we do and how we learn. And so having that change to be fully online now, and we've just been told that all our practicals are cancelled, so it's a bit heartbreaking. But I'm also very, very privileged and very aware of the privilege that I have to be able to have the ability to have an education. So although it is really difficult, I need to be aware that this is an amazing opportunity that I have. And it's amazing to be able to engage with students with my around me in my circle who are feeling the same struggle but also love what they learn. That's, I guess, just how we're all coping with it, just trying to go day by day.
Yeah, for sure. And COVID does suck, but I appreciate that you value your learning and your work and your research so much that you can actually place it above, having those boundaries that COVID has placed on it. And of course, your podcast, that's online, right? So there's that as well. So I'm thankful that at least we've got the technology to be able to connect and communicate still. On a brighter note, what has been your favorite opportunity or experience so far?
Gee, great question. I actually don't think I can pick a specific experience, because they all offer so many different and amazing things and learning opportunities, and they're all so important and allow myself to grow in different ways. So I don't think I can pick one specifically, but I think the one that I was most involved in, because it was just a longer term, was the World Oceans Day Youth Advisory Council, and we were able to develop such strong bonds with other youth, and it was, it felt so amazing to be a part of an experience that really ignites people's passions around the world and can bring in different cultures and different diversities and opinions, and it was just amazing to be a part of a group like that. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like connecting with other people who are involved in this field is such like a powerful thing, and it really like gives you that community, which is really really one of the greatest things about environmental activism. So what have been some challenges you've faced? You've talked a bit about COVID, but is there anything else in general that you've learned since you've started this journey?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of challenges, and I'm sure you guys can agree as well, being in this industry. Yeah, I'd say in terms of science, I'd say scientists or budding scientists, and it can be quite overwhelming, and I guess you could say a little bit depressing in some stages. Like you're saying, education is really important to ignite and to understand that passion that you have, or that anger that you may have to certain issues. But it does get overwhelming when you learn more about things, and it can feel more negative than it is positive. and overcoming that is a really difficult step, but you will definitely overcome that, because you do have that passion inside of you that's like, no, I really need to do something. And of course, people telling you that you can't change the world, and people's opinions and all of that. And I think they're important factors in the whole equation that you go through, because you're going to come across different people and different opinions that, well, that completely are wrong in the science world, but that you just have to deal with, and just have to accept that, not everybody's going to agree with you, but you just want to follow what you are doing and do the best that you possibly can. So yeah, it's difficult, but in the end, it's very much worth it. Yeah.
Definitely. And I feel like, yeah, sometimes we're taking one step forward, and then it feels like we're taking two steps back. And like you said, there's always going to be those people that don't agree with what you're doing, whether it be, sometimes your friends, but maybe your family, or you're just like people on the street, and yeah, I definitely agree that we should all take your advice and just stick with your passions. And this is our last question. So thank you so much for being here, Nicola. In your opinion, how powerful do you think the voices of young youth are?
The most powerful. Genuinely, I deeply feel that way. Yeah, again, youth, they're incredible. I just feel like we have this elevated sense and empathy around the world. At least that's in my opinion. But yeah, it's amazing to see. I mean, I guess pre-COVID, seeing the unity around, climate change activism and standing up to parliaments around the world. It's incredible. Like, if you take a step back and really think about it, this is amazing what youth are doing around the world. And I mean, they might not be in the spotlight, but there are youth around the world that are doing the most incredible things for their communities, and their families, and just nature and the earth and people in general. And I think that's incredible. So yeah, youth are the biggest and most powerful change makers, in my opinion, because this is their future, this is our future. And I would say, yeah, I mean, keep going, follow your calling and the purpose that you have. You obviously know about it, and keep going with it, because it's amazing.
I agree. And thank you so much. This was so inspiring. So thank you so much to Nicola for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great, and well done with what you guys are doing. It's really incredible. So
thank you.
Yeah. Thanks
and yes,
so much,
everyone
guys.
Go check out her podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice day.